Alright, hello and welcome to week 16 of the account where I'll be spending roughly £50 each month in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So yeah, we are at 16 weeks, pretty much 4 months, which is crazy where that time goes, but I guess time waits for no man, and we have a lot to get into this week. So I'm actually going to start by covering a bit of the news that we got with the update yesterday, because that will feed back into my account plans and farming plans over the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to start by talking about the double drops and bonus drops that were unearthed in the data mines off the back of the update yesterday. So I'm going to jump to some pieces of information and graphics I've prepared for that. All right, so I've collected a bunch of the information together, but also I'm trying not to overload with information on this. I feel quite often things can get bogged down in like crystal efficiency and cost, so I'm just going to try give the high level, the need to know points, the TLDR. So what's happening? So first of all, we have bonus drops coming to the game between the 13th and 15th of this month, and those will be for Luthen, Dark Vision Rey, Jocasta Nu, and Ezra Bridger. So I guess I don't know exactly which node or which type of energy each of these characters will drop on, but the way this is written is that these 4 characters are in hard light side, hard dark side, hard fleet, and cantina. I guess you could interpret this as these 4 characters are in these 4 nodes respectively. So for example, Luthen would be in hard light, Rey would be in hard dark, which would make sense, Jocasta and fleet, and Ezra and cantina. That is just how I'm interpreting what they've written. Famously, CG doesn't always put the most attention into phrasing of things, so that could be a bit of a red herring. But one thing that does maybe make this think this is right is that Ezra, if you unlock him at 7 stars, you get Zeta mats, and if he is on Cantina, that makes sense because quite often the Zeta mats are on the Cantina nodes in previous bonus drops. So I am leaning towards the fact that like Luthen is on hard light side, etc. But I guess this is still slight speculation. The phrasing of this doesn't make things 100% clear. So yeah, and if you do already have these characters at 7 stars, you can get these materials on the nodes instead. Usually with these things, anything apart from the Zetas aren't that worth it. The drop rates are usually quite low, and for Zetas that's fine because getting 1 or 2 Zetas for a couple hundred energy is pretty great, but getting 1 or 2 flawed signal data, for example, is not that great. So if you need Zetas, saving up to do these bonus drops could be a good idea if you're still Zeta crunched, but otherwise I would typically ignore these bonus drops and maybe not hoard for them, especially with what's coming after, which I'll get into in a second. But if you are at a point in the game where you are starting Proving Grounds or just about to be doing Proving Grounds, getting several of these characters accelerated can be quite a good thing, because through Proving Grounds you can only get, if you're not refreshing or anything, can only get 20 shards each month, which is a really long process. So if you're able to get at least 20 shards, and I suspect with a bit of hoarding you will probably be able to get quite a bit more than 20 shards depending on the drop rates, that could save you quite a significant amount of time, like 2 to 3 months of farming, which for other processes in the game can be pretty great. So I do think it's worth taking advantage of if you still need to unlock these characters and you do have a use for them. Like the use cases would be Ezra. I mean, most people would probably have a good use of Ezra, Jedi Master Luke, Rey, Ahsoka, and even without that you could probably stick him on, I don't know, like a Jedi Knight Revan, a Jedi Knight Luke team, Starkiller team, whatever. He's just such a good character and very plug and play, so, and really is needed for teams like Ahsoka, so I would definitely prioritize him if I were most accounts to casta. That is the one that is definitely lower priority, definitely for me and at my account, and I think for most. So she is really needed to make the Jedi Master Mace Windu team worthwhile, but even with her, it's a fine team. It's not game changing, and especially once the raid finishes, which it may do in the next few months, I guess we don't know for sure, she's just not going to be that high a priority, to be honest. So definitely the weakest of the four for me. Dark Vision Rey, if you do have SOKR, and a lot of people do have SOKR through the Lightspeed bundles. So if you bought the Lightspeed bundle under 4 million and you have SOKR but no Dark Vision Rey, this could be a good opportunity to really accelerate that. And Luthen as well. Normally I would put him slightly lower down in the priority, but of course we are right in the middle of the Andor era, and if you are going after the new marquees, especially if you are getting them to 5 stars, which will give you the marquees and Andor at Relic 0 by the end of the era, having Luthen, who will be the 5th member of that team and will also be used in 3v3, will be really valuable, because I do get the impression that team is just not going to be at its full potential without Luthen. So I think a lot of people are going for the 5-star route. So I do think for a lot of people, including myself, who's doing that, I think Luthen and accelerating Luthen, if you don't have him already, could be pretty valuable. As I mentioned, I think he might be on the light side normal energy, but again, that is just speculation. He's definitely actually probably my biggest focus in terms of a character. I guess Dark Vision Rey, I do have SOKR, so I probably should prioritize her just as much, but I think more in terms of the fun of it, I want to go for the new stuff, I'm going for the new team. I think it would be great to get Luthen done as soon as possible. So in terms of the hoarding strategies, if you do want to target these characters, these are the dates that you'd be looking for to start hoarding. Normal energy, because you need to get, or you can get up to 2000. You can start a little bit earlier, and you have to go pretty much all in from the start with 4 days to go. Cantina and fleet energy, the first day is a little bit more relaxed, and then you can hoard all 3 refreshes, and you're looking on the final day to essentially get to just under 2000 or 1000 before you do that final refresh, and then this is the max you can take it. Other things you can do is you get that 100 energy a day from the web store. You can hold them for about 2 to 3 days. So 10th to 12th, I would maybe not claim that from the web store. And then once you've finished hoarding on the 12th, then you can claim it and it will add on to the total. So that energy isn't capped out like the refreshes are at 2000. And then also you can add on like your daily, the free refreshes for that day. Maybe if you are still to unlock the normal and fleet energy from the Kessel run on the web store, again holding it off until after you've reached this point. Those are just little things you can do to try eke out as much energy as possible before using it on these 3 days. And the good thing is that mod energy isn't required for any of these characters, so you can still do your 600 energy a day, just about. You will have to be very careful about not maxing out on mod energy, and you may have to dip in a little bit to some of the other energies to make that 600 a day for the raid tickets, for the dailies, but you should still be able to do that, which I think is very beneficial because you want everyone to be getting as many raid tickets as possible. But also, especially with Coliseum and the fact that we get era level currency on episode track, you do want to make sure you keep doing your dailies and not miss out on any of that level up currency either. So that is the plan for the conquest bonus drops. Then we have double drops. So they haven't quite given us enough time after the bonus drops to hoard completely for the double drops. So as I mentioned, if you don't need these characters and you don't need most of this extra gear and stuff, I would recommend repeating this hoarding process for the double drops, for the energies that you're interested in, and ignoring this basically. But if you're like me and are interested in the conquest characters, you'll just need to max out everything on the 2 days in between. You'll still be able to do a decent hoard, it just won't be the maximum. But yeah, you just have to decide what your priorities are. My priorities will definitely be on the conquest characters over just a little bit of extra gear and signal data that you could get from the hoarding. This is just more valuable to my account. One thing to call out for the double drops is that I do believe it is typically better to not hoard on every energy and make sure you can still do your dailies, as I mentioned, for the reasons of doing the episode track fully, and then also for getting your 600 tickets for your guild. Because if you think about it, if everybody hoards and nobody gets any tickets in your guild, which I guess wouldn't really happen, but I guess you can't really think like, oh, I'm going to be the only one who's hoarding and it'll be fine. I guess you can't really have that attitude. Yeah, if everyone stopped collecting tickets, that can cost you 3 days of raid rewards, essentially. So if you do the raid every 6 days and you remove 3 days from that process, you're essentially halving-ish your raid rewards for that week, which is a lot more impactful than missing out on a day of hoarding or one of the energies. So you might be missing out on maybe a little bit of extra Carotech from doing double drops on normal energy, which compared to the raid rewards and daily quests, I do believe isn't quite worth it. So personally, I will be skipping out on normal energy, and that's just because I'm in a phase of the game where I'm farming a lot of shards on normal energy. And the thing about double drops is that it doesn't work as great for the hard nodes because you do have to refresh them. Even though you do still get double the shards, you can't just indefinitely keep applying the energy that you've hoarded to those nodes. Eventually it's just going to become too inefficient with how much crystals it costs to refresh the nodes. So it doesn't always make sense to hoard and then spend it on those nodes, just because you're not going to be able to fully do that. And also, I think for my account, compared to you could use normal energy to farm Carotech, I just don't need as much Carotech compared to things like signal data. So I am going to do my dailies using normal energy on these days, and then probably hoard the other 3 types of energy as much as I can. So yeah, that's going to be the plan for my account. These are just, again, the main points, I think. So prioritize the characters you need. I think for a lot of people, you could potentially ignore most of the bonus drops apart from the Zetas if you need Zetas. Yeah, and then also try and keep free energy for doing dailies if you are a good and kind guildmate. But also, I do really think that with Coliseum and trying to extract every potential era level you can, missing out on a few days of reward boxes from the episode track and the era level currency could hurt you a little bit there. So I do think it is worthwhile just doing your dailies, getting the 600 energy. But yeah, that's it in terms of the general hoarding strategies. I'm going to jump back into my account to go through, I guess, exactly how it's going to impact my farming. So let's do that now. Right, back in my account. So I'm going to do things slightly out of order this week. So on Monday this week, Conquest finished and I got to the gold crate. So the second to last crate. It was my first time doing hard conquest, having just gone past 4 million, so I was pretty happy to just about get to the gold crate and get those 65 shards of, I guess it should be here. I haven't actually included the very latest character. There she is. So got 65 of Satil Shan together with, I think, like 18 shards from the episode track, and also I got a little bit of her shards before from normal mode conquest, so should be able to, I think, unlock her in the 6 months if I continue to get gold crate and buy the episode pass. I'll have to double check my maths on that. I may have to pick up some extra shards from the scavenger nodes, but what hitting 4 million also means is that I was able to do the proving ground. So I did record some footage, but I decided it wasn't too interesting. If you are interested, I would recommend Zareth Prevails. He has just done a big video on going through the majority of the nodes of the proving ground bosses with Great Mothers. I believe the only team he wasn't able to do Great Mothers with was Malgus and TIE Interceptor, and he was able to do Malgus with Balin. So yeah, pretty useful if you do have Great Mothers. I personally used a mix of Great Mothers and SOKR to get through Malgus, but also I was essentially just lazy and didn't want to put too much like remodding into Great Mothers and maybe bump up the relic levels, Zetas, that sort of thing. So a mix of SOKR and Great Mothers, and was able to get through every node apart from the TIE Interceptor node, which I wasn't too worried about. TIE Interceptor I don't really have any plans for or use for, and I will be unlocking Leia, as I'll get onto in the rest of the video before the next proving ground, so should be able to get that done next time anyway. I think I counted in just over half of the nodes I got to 3 stars. I think with Leia I should be able to get most of them up to 3 stars, and I think with Great Mothers as well should be able to get a few more 3 stars. So that basically meant I was able to get 20 shards on everything apart from the TIE Interceptor, which I'm pretty happy about. Really feels like I couldn't have started hard mode conquest that much earlier. I was really pushing for getting to 4 million. I was bloating my account, so happy I was able to essentially maximize the proving ground reward. So as I mentioned in the section on the bonus drops, Luthen is something I'm targeting, and you may notice that Luthen's shards are slightly higher than the rest, and that is because I bought the conquest pass, which I'm planning to do for pretty much every conquest for the foreseeable future. But part of the conquest pass is that on the paid track in the conquest pass, you can get bonus shards of a random previous conquest character essentially every 3-month cycle. So every cycle you will always get the 2 newest. So in this one you will get Satil Shan and the Stranger. In those paid track rewards, I think about 20 of the newest and 30 of the second oldest. It might also be 20 of the Stranger, but you can get a decent amount of the new ones. But then every 3 months, so every conquest cycle, they put in a random one, and this time it's Luthen. So I missed out on it last time just because I wasn't doing hard mode, but this time I was able to get 30 shards of Luthen Rail, which is great. I'll also be buying the pass next time for next conquest, and the random character stays the same for the 3 months, so for the entirety of the Satil Shan focus conquest. And yeah, that should be another 30 shards, and then also the 20 shards from the proving ground, so should be up to 100 with Luthen. Then we have, as we just found out, the bonus drops, which I will be really trying to really target Luthen shards, because as I mentioned, I'm going for the new Cassian team. I guess we can jump to them. Actually, that's not them. jump to them here, going for the 5-star strategy. Already got the first 2, essentially need 3 more, so these 3 in order to get Cassian. I'm very much on track in terms of the crystals that I'm hoarding in order to do that and unlock Cassian, and then Luthen will be an important part of that. And you will get the characters' relics if you take them to 5 stars and do the journey event. So essentially, if I can remember where I am, I will have a team of 5-star characters, relic 0. So I will be slow farming them afterwards. So let's say, I don't know, hopefully not this long, but let's say like 6 months after the era finishes, I will hopefully have them all up 7 stars. Maybe they then reintroduce the Cassian event to unlock fully at 7 stars. We don't know exactly how long that will take, but I'm hoping by then I could maybe have Luthen up and running, especially with the bonus drops, especially with the extra shards from the conquest pass. And also, I think I might do this maybe once every 3 times or once every 2 times. I might buy the Conquest Plus Pass, which gives an extra run of every Proving Grounds. So that would be a great way of occasionally, because it is quite expensive and I couldn't do it every month with my budget, but accelerating every Conquest character by 20 shards. But also, and I need to try double check this because I can't find good information on this, but when I bought this a couple of times on my bigger account like a year or 2 ago, it used to be that you would get double the extra shards of the selected character. So if it was Luthen, you would get, I think, about 60 shards by buying the Conquest Plus Pass compared to just the normal Conquest Pass. I can't find that it doesn't actually say that in the description for the Conquest Plus Pass, so maybe that's changed, but potentially could be a way to get even more Luthen rail shards. So yeah, really really focused on Luthen. It's probably not the most important thing in the world to be focused on, but I don't know, feels fun to me. I'm getting the new team anyway. I love Andor as the series. Just feels like the right thing to do for this account anyway. So I'll focus on Luthen. Oh, and there's actually one more trick up my sleeves for accelerating Luthen, but I will swing back to that after I finally get round to talking about my current farms. So yeah, so I've been fully focusing on Leia, but first, sorry, yeah, just because I don't have it here, I should maybe go to my past farms, should be somewhere in here. But first, I did unlock Profundity. So if we, I guess let's go to the journey guide. Completely forgot about definitely the biggest thing that I did this week. So yeah, Profundity was last Saturday and met all the requirements, was able to get Profundity unlocked 4 stars. This tier 2 against the Malevolence is horrific. I forgot, or I put off doing the event until very late on Saturday, and I was up super late, just hating life, trying to get this event that is so, it's got to be the most RNG event. I know there's arguments for like the Leia tier 2, for Inquisitors, for Afra, but personally, yeah, last time I did this, I hated it. I hated it this time. I do not like this tier 2 event at all, but that's done now, and I have the bonus tier at 3 stars, so I can just pick up the 10 shards each month. I'm in no rush to bump up the star levels for Profundity. As I mentioned, I will focus on Executor in terms of increasing star levels just for a consistent Leviathan counter. I'm using it, I guess, on and off in Fleet Arena. It's much of a muchness, but I find for certain things, Home 1, just because it's more built up at the moment, is easier, and I think eventually Profundity will definitely overtake that. There's just a little bit of work I need to do, mostly there's a few like abilities and stuff I still need to get, and Hans Millennium Falcon isn't at full power just yet. There's still a few, these abilities are less important, but the big one will be getting Chewbacca relics, getting Han R8, and just being able to do more damage with the Falcon is really the main thing. But it's there. I can use it. I've beaten executors pretty easily in the fleet shard, and will hopefully be pretty nice when it comes to GAC. Just checking on that there now that I have Profundity and Home One. So yeah, that's the first update. I should have mentioned that before talking about Leia, just the way I organized this. But now, right, so this week I have also been focusing on Leia, and I think I'm there in terms of requirements. So first up, we have Chief Chirpa, who is R3 requirement. So I've saved up the gear and should be able to pop him up to R3, which would be fantastic. There we go. Yeah, I'm starting to run a bit low on signal data there, but should be fine for the requirements. There we go. Another requirement done. So if we check the requirements, yep, just one, Lobot. And as I mentioned last week, I have decided what I'm going to do, and I am just going to spend Lightspeed token on Lobot. I've been getting a lot of error currency through the store, through Coliseum, getting 500 a day, and yes, he's not the most efficient use of a Lightspeed token in the world, but as I mentioned, I think I'm starting to hit that point where I'm going to be running out of the optimal uses of Lightspeed tokens, and I think if I can use a Lightspeed token to definitely speed up a farm, I think that's worth it as well, because what it's meant is instead of saving up gear for Lobot, I've been able to pretty much save up all of the gear I need for Leia, so should be able to unlock Leia over the weekend before GAC lock. She won't be at ultimate, but in Bronzium GAC I'm sure I'll still be able to do some stuff with a non-ultimate Leia. So yeah, I think the plan just uses support. So I don't know why I surely don't have that rebel. Is that just because it's, yeah, I don't know why that was an option. Yeah, sorry, just got I was like, do I still have a rebel token? Surely not. No, I don't. So yeah, where are we? Yeah, let's grab the support. I've just saved it up today, and that's one of the reasons I'm recording this a day later than I normally do. Just wanted to get Leia unlocked on video, so or meet the requirements rather. So just gonna buy that. Is a little bit wasteful because not needed R5, not even needed at 6 stars, but the big bottleneck was the gear. So yeah, made sense just to speed it up, and I'll be able to unlock Leia this weekend essentially. So that should be her done. I might have to, oh, there we go. Might have to restart the game sometimes. No, I can start the journey. Don't have any Galactic Legend tickets yet, but we'll pick some up with Shard Shot currency and start to farm light side. And that brings me back to the bonus drops. So one of the reasons I was really interested in which character which will be on which node, if that wasn't English, was because there is a little bit of a well-known, I don't know if you can say it, bug or feature at this point, where if you're farming Galactic Legend tickets and there's bonus drops, it tends to really inflate the number of bonus stuff that you can get, in this case conquest character shards. So if the drop rate was, for example, 1% before, it might increase to like 2-3%, and you can really that's just an example, but you can really accelerate your rate of getting those shards or gear, whatever. So if Luthen is on light side hard, which the order of the data mined post kind of implies, so I really do hope he is, then I will, because I'll be farming light side tickets, should be able to pick up a little bit more Luthen shards. So that's the the extra trick, I guess. So, and I'll definitely still be farming light side tickets when the bonus drops come around in about a week, because I'm not in a huge rush to get the ultimate. I will maybe rush to get her unlocked, but then afterwards I'll slow down a little bit for the ultimate, because I think it'll be an off week anyway when it comes to GAC. So yeah, that is Leia. Requirements done. Yeah, happy with that. So in about 4 months, Profundity and Leia being the big ticket items. I guess there's a few other things like Great Mothers through Lightspeed tokens. I guess most are really through Lightspeed tokens. Duel of the Fates, a few other, getting Home 1 up and running. So yeah, pretty happy with the progress in 4 months. And of course SOKR, but I'm not really counting SOKR as something I've done. That's essentially just buying the Lightspeed bundle. Leia is much more, yes, it's accelerated by spending money and getting the extra Lightspeed tokens, but it's not just through a bundle. Although I guess I did buy the Battle of Hoth Lightspeed bundle, which did help a little bit. So yeah, definitely some financial doping for unlocking Leia. So I'm not going to pretend it's this, you could do this free to play, but yeah, but happy with the progress nonetheless. Yeah, so yeah, it'd be pretty huge having Leia and Profundity by the time the next Grand Arena rolls around. I guess speaking of Grand Arena, so I am in Bronzium 3. I was briefly just in Bronzium 4. I had a shocker of a last, I don't think you can see the last round, but I think I just lost the first match against quite a big opponent. And then the second and third matches were against 10 million plus accounts who actually for once set their GLs on defense, like 3 to 4 GLs, and there's just really not much I can do. At that point, I think just got unlucky that they decided to show up. But yeah, back into Bronzium 3 after winning the first match. I don't even think my opponent showed up, unfortunately. I was actually kind of hoping they did, just because I don't think their fleets were that good and might have gotten stopped by the home one. So yeah, hopefully now that we've got Profundity and then Leia, we'll start to march up the GAC ranks. I guess a few other farming updates. So yeah, I can start to move, as I like to do, these Leia farms to pass farms. So that's done, and yeah, these Lightspeed token ones are done as well. Yeah, so just need to farm Leia. I have her gear, I just need to farm a little bit of signal data, then we are pretty much good. I have the Zetas stored up, so should be good to get Leia shortly. Then I'm going to work on a couple of smaller side projects. As I mentioned, I think it'll be fun to get the Stormtrooper Luke team up and running. All I need to do is farm the right side gear, which I find quite, I don't know, amusing or weird that we get these characters. If you get them to 4 stars, era level 70, you get half the gear done. And this left hand side gear can be quite annoying, so yeah, not too much work to be done. Just to get Luke to relics. I'll be able to take him up to relic 4 now that he's 5 stars, and I'll just continue to farm his shards just slowly. Already have these 2, so I'll bump them up to like a relic 4 or 5 sort of team. And I do actually have the Datacron, so I did finish Conquest a little bit early, and really with not that many, I think did a couple of extra refreshes just at the very end, but was able to get the 2 focused Datacrons, one for Stormtrooper Luke, so hopefully I'll have that team usable by next 3v3. That could be quite an annoying one, I'm sure, on defense. And then also Inquisitor Barriss, just because I had spare stuff, because when you do buy the Conquest Pass, you get a bunch of extra materials through that track, so just had stuff to spend and thought the Barriss one could be good. I might potentially relic Barriss as well we'll have to wait and see. Definitely the level 3 will be a good one, and then just picked up a bunch of level 3s just to fill things out, because nobody else farms datacrons at this level. I'm really trying not to spend that much resources on them, but if I can, it does give a little bit of an advantage in GAC, which is nice. So yeah, other things. Oh, my next Lightspeed token, now that I've done Lobot, my next one will be on Captain Enoch. Then also I will be looking to Relic C3PO, and then we're getting Chewbacca Lightspeed token, get the CLS team up and running, do the same with Troopers potentially, and then I'm going to be fully focused on Jedi Knight Luke, Executor, Jabba. So I'm taking a little bit of a break to work on these teams that really only require a little bit of investment, pretty much one character each, and then I'm going to focus fully on Executor and Jabba. So, and then we've got things like Jedi Knight Luke, Bo-Katan. Oh, while I'm at it, I do need to use the other Bounty Hunter Lightspeed token, Bounty Hunter Bad Batch, and I think Hunter, just because Reqs on the same node as the Galactic Republic Y-Wing, which I will eventually want to farm, so may as well farm his shard rather than Hunter's. So yeah, just gonna double check his farm. It's a cheaper energy than Wrecker, but I'll need to farm it anyway for that ship. So just gonna upgrade the second pilot. When I remember, I've been picking up Marauder shards as well. Will be just nice to have another usable ship, especially when I start to get into things like Chromium GAC. So yeah, that's the plan going forward. Coliseum, not too much to report. Have been pretty nicely this is today, but in the teens most days, pretty comfortable. I guess one thing to discuss, I did buy another era level pack just to keep things ticking along and hopefully not need to spend on one again. And the reason I spent on one is because there was a thing you could do last era where they changed the era level currency you got in these boxes at the end of an episode, and an episode is 4 weeks, 2 marquees. And last time in the update before the next episode, they would increase this amount. I don't know if it was fully intentional or it was just convenient that they'd increase this amount ahead of the next episode, because they ramp up the amount of error currency that you can get in the various episodes. So there was a little bit of a trick you could do where you could save up the episode quests until they made the update and then cash it in essentially and get more episode currency. Like for example, last time this figure would have gone up to 7,000 and you would have gotten more era currency for the era level currency for the same episode point investment. So it was a little trick you could do to get more era level currency, which can really become a bottleneck. This time, unfortunately, that didn't happen. It looks like they've maybe closed off that slight loophole or trick that you could do, which is a shame, but I guess it's the same for everyone, which meant I was hoarding these quests, which I still haven't claimed. I will do eventually, but I decided just to keep the momentum going, just to buy another £4 era currency pack, just so I can continue to make upgrades in Coliseum and not lose progress over the days I was hoarding, which I guess it kind of works out that because I was able to do that and take the risk and save up for that trick that eventually never planned out, but I haven't lost any progress because I spent money. So I guess I've lost money. I guess that tells you something about my addiction for this game. But yeah, so I guess that was the excitement this week. I will claim these as and when I need them. So if I do need era level currency to make an upgrade to my characters. I still have some, it's about 20,000. I will claim it and use it. I'm just gonna, I guess at this point I may as well hold on to them for as long as I can until the end of the episode and then cash them in. I don't expect it to do anything, but at this point I may as well just and see what happens. The hardest thing is not claiming them and having this red dot here constantly, which is very annoying, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. And I guess we can finish with my stats for the week, so let's do that now. Right, so in terms of spending, just, I guess ignore that £2 here, just £4 era level currency pack just to keep the momentum going, I guess. So that takes the total to 225, and yeah, I guess slowly creeping back to the £50 a month. I think I'm like not too far ahead of it at this point, like £30 maybe. Yeah, but yeah, slowly getting there in terms of stats. So gone up a fair amount in GP this week, which I guess Profundity, that would have been quite a big GP bump. So 4.3, again, not really focusing too much on my GP now that I'm past 4 million. Guild as well increased a good bit, which is nice to see. Mod score, so I am cutting back on mod refreshes just while I hoard up crystals for Cassian, but also for taking the Executor when I unlock that to higher stars. So my mod score will take a hit, or at the very most stay stationary for the next month or so. I do want to return to doing refreshes as soon as possible, but my mod score I don't think will improve and may even decline a little bit. Guild, slight increase there, no other big changes, I don't think. GAC, fleet, all of that remains pretty much the same. Solid crystals, all of these currencies are the same. The only real change is that I finally got round to modding Kylo Ren Unmasked and doing the Places of Power Assault Battle at CT3 on auto. I can't 3-star at the moment because I don't have Dark Side Ray, but that's my first one at CT3, and yeah, hopefully more will follow, especially when I unlock Leia and a few others as well. So yeah, happy with the progress overall, and I think that does it for today's video. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.